Hey. So another video here. My name is Kirsten Elise Dunn. For anybody that has not had an opportunity to hear me teach anything, or maybe you have, but you're new still and still don't really know the cuckoo that goes down with Kirsten Elise Dunn. But hello. And today we're going to be talking about divine business strategy. So if everybody who doesn't know me, let me introduce myself. I am a serial social entrepreneur, meaning every one of my companies is in business to give back to the community. I consider and understand that to be kingdom business, and it is business for social change. So today I'm gonna dive right in to this video where we are talking about 3 things every business owner should do daily. Wait a minute. What? Okay. I love it. So, successful kingdom business, it can be achieved with 3 things daily. So, there's 3 things that every business owner even really should do every single day. And it really all comes down to something that might shock you. It comes down to this. If anybody doesn't know what this picture is, this is a picture of the temple. This is a picture of the temple that God gave the vision to David to actually create this temple, but his son Solomon is the one that actually built the temple. There's so much word there. It's so many meanings and different inspirations and clarity points that we can get from understanding the temple. But I really want you guys to understand, when it comes to business, you could really break this down just by the temple. When it comes to our lives, you could really break this down just to the temple. So like when it comes to, the 3 things that I'm talking about today, it does involve inner court, outer court, and holies of holies. So, you might say, well, Kirsten, what? How does that make anything to do with business? Well, I believe the Bible stands for basic instructions before leading earth. I believe it is our responsibility as leaders. And I say it all the time. I am a leader's leader. I lead leaders. And being a leader's leader, it's my responsibility to consistently do everything I can in my power, physically, subconsciously, superconsciously, to making sure I am understanding and allowing the word to be written on the tablet of my heart, that I might not be separated from God, that I might continue to lead in a way that is kingdom driven, that is kingdom. Does it mean that we're going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Perfection is not real, right? Jesus was the only one that was able to accomplish that. But at the end of the day, when it really comes down to is when you're understanding business, it really has everything to do with the temple design. The temple design meant so much. It was just literally like a foreshadowing or a way of telling us how we can go about operating every day. It's inner court, outer court, holies of holies. So if you notice, the outer court is wide. I want you to pay attention on this picture. I found the simplest picture I could possibly find on the internet. And the outer court is wide. There's a lot of area. There's a lot of space in the outer court. The inner court starts to narrow in more, and the holies of holies gets even more. I mean, as far as our everyday lives, this could be an example of our relationships. Some people outer court, some people inner court, some people holies of holies. I could talk about this all day, and I'll do more videos on outer court, inner court, and holies of holies when it comes to personal, when it comes to making decisions, even when it comes to deciding what's the most important thing that you need to focus on every single month in your business. And it changes from month to month. It might change every quarter. It might change every year. But even making that decision, how do you make that decision? And it really all comes to outer court, inner court, and holies of holies. This is the foundation of kingdom business. This is absolutely, and I believe, the foundation of kingdom business. So when it comes to the 3 things that you need to do every single day, they're going to come from these 3 areas. The outer court is represented as a 30-fold return. It still goes even with the scripture or the Bible story that talks about the farmer that sowed seed, and some reap 30, some reap 60, some reap 100. The outer court represents the 30-fold return. It represents the things that are shallow. They matter. Notice the outer court is still in the building, so it matters. It's absolutely something that matters, but it's not as of the utmost of importance. It matters and it has a level of influence, but it's not of the utmost importance. And then you go to the inner court. Inner court is the 60-fold return. Inner court is where it starts to begin, where it's more serious, right? If you look at a deeper model of the temple, I do another teaching where I do a deeper model of the temple where I actually show where things were placed. The inner court is where sacrifice would take place to prepare for the holies of holies. So when you start talking about inner court, that's where it kind of gets to the nitty gritty. That's when you start rolling your sleeve up. It's a 60-fold return. And so it's things where you start really focusing and diving in deep in your business. It's where you're showing up every single day, making sure you are executing effectively. And then you go into the holies of holies. Y'all, the holies of holies, notice that it's a narrow area. It's a small area. The reason why it's a small area, because it hits so close to home. I just don't believe that as a leader and as a leader of leaders, I want to encourage you with this holies of holies thought process. When you're even thinking about the 3 things you need to be doing every day, it's very important. Everybody can't touch it. The holies of holies is exactly what that is. The definition, the kingdom definition of holiness means to be one. The Hebrew definition of holy means to be one, for God is one, for God is holy, meaning he's singular, meaning that he's complete, meaning that he is of a singular focus. It's not saying that it's a skirt down to your ankles or it's anything perfection. It's saying God is one. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So with us understanding that, when we start talking about the thing that you need to focus on in your holies of holies in your business every single day, just understand it's something everybody can't touch. It's something that everybody's opinion can't be involved in. When you're in outer court, you probably can take multiple opinions. When you're in outer court, you can listen to some people, everybody you need to be able to trust, because notice there's still a fortress and a protection around this thing, right? But outer court, you can take everything. There's several things that can happen and several opinions that can come in. But when it comes to inner court, it's narrowed in more. Everybody, I need my inner circle. I need to really make sure I'm honing in on what I'm doing in my business. And then when it comes to holies of holies, listen, that is me and God. That's the only thing that has space for in there. Holies of holies is me, God, my spouse, whoever I am one with. It is whoever I have cut covenant with. It is whoever I am rocking this thing out together. I joke all the time and say my holies of holies are my people that I can take my weave off around and they won't judge me. My hair is really big. My natural hair is really big. So, but end of the day, so you understand these 3 things are the 3 core things that you need to be doing every day in your business. Stay with me. You don't want to miss it. So I heard everybody hears this saying, like if we were in a room and I was teaching, I would tell everybody to raise your hand if you've heard this. Consistency is what transforms average into excellence. So you need to be consistent. Consistency is what transforms average into excellence. So you want to be consistent in these habits every day. I have a saying that I say everyone is consistent. If we think about it, all of us are consistent. We all just need to learn how to be consistent in the right things. So, because the truth is, we all are consistent. We all have consistent habits. We all have, whether it be a habit of tearing yourself down every day, of beating yourself up, or telling you that this business is not going to work, that you're crazy for quitting your job, that, oh my God, what am I going to do? Whatever it is, you are consistent. We all are naturally consistent. We all naturally have habits and things that we do every single day. So we just need to learn how to reprogram the things that we're doing and begin to have more consistent habits. So I broke this down in 3 simple tasks. That's the way it was broken down to me. That's the way it was broken down in the temple. But this is broken down in 3 simple tasks so that you can be consistent in the right things, right? That you can be consistent in the right things. So we have a note here. You can download this to actually write on it. I believe in actually writing. There's power in putting ink to paper. So, what are the areas that you really are consistent in? And what are the areas in business that you feel like you need to improve your consistency? So, when you insert the divinity into your business daily with these 3 steps. So, the first one is impact. Okay. And you know what? 3 represents divinity. That's why that was there. I'm like skipping over things, right? 3, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's the reason why there was outer court, inner court, and holies of holies. It represented the outer court, which represented the Son. The inner court represented the Holy Spirit, and then the holies of holies represents the Father and intimacy with relationships. So you're putting these 3 things into purpose. You are. So the impact activity would be considered your holies of holies in your business. This is where your career is in your calling, right? Miles Monroe, I heard him say this. He literally says, your work he said, your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Oh, that's so good. Your job is what they pay you to do, but your work is what you were born to do. So when it comes to your business, every single day, doing an impact or purpose activity, whether it be a 17-minute meditation about your business. 17 minutes represents the number of victory and perfection. 17 is the number of victory and perfection. So for 17 minutes every day, you slow down, you get quiet, you get completely still, you quiet your mind. I used to have to sit on my hands until I trained myself to meditate. You get completely quiet and you literally focus on your business and just see the things that you desire to see in your business. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Whatever you loose on heaven shall be loosed in earth. So use your spirit to create, because you are a creator and you're creating whether you want to or not. So impact and purpose. So every single day, making sure you are doing something that is an impact and purpose, getting clear on what the impact and what the purpose is for your business. So what impact would you like your company to have in your community? That's one of the starting points. What are the impact of what you want your company to have in your community? So every day, thinking about that impact, planning for that impact, that is a holies of holies activity. And then an inner court activity, and working my way out, an inner court activity is branding, brand building activities. I call this social media management. Notice I said you rolling up your sleeves and grinding. Now notice, I want you to understand something. With the brand building activity, it's still a little narrow in the inner court. Okay. So you really want to hone in on what is the best thing for your company. Every social media strategy, everybody does not need to post every day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, post, ask for the sale, call to action, LinkedIn campaign. Oh, I need to do an Instagram campaign. Oh, I need to do a Facebook campaign. Wait, what? I need to build my website out. Oh, it's not working. What? I need a sales funnel. I have went through so many different techniques. And what I really learned at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for my company. I have to do what's best for the company that I'm designed to run. And that just happens to be a part of my brand. So I call this an inner court activity, and every single day you want to do a branding activity. I also just will give you this little tidbit of business. How many times has anybody seen a Chick-fil-A commercial? I joke all the time and say, never. I mean, like, do they even have commercials? And if it's it's just like because they're honoring something for a holiday or it's something happening. I never see a Chick-fil-A commercial because they have built their brand of it's my pleasure. They have built their brand of service that they don't even need to really market. Everybody knows who they are. Now, we do see Nike commercials all the time, but when I say just do it, you automatically know what I'm talking about because their branding, they have built out a brand that everybody knows that this is what Nike represents. It represents grit. It represents athletes. It represents they make sure that their branding is even letting you know it represents diversification. It represents they represent everybody. I saw a commercial for Nike the other day that had disabled athletes. There were amputees on there and people in wheelchairs, and they were rocking Nike gear and playing sports. And so they want their brand to represent diversification, and they're doing a good job about it. Colin Kaepernick didn't hurt either, right? So just understanding that you want to build out the brand that represents your business, that represents your company, and building out brand activity. Just understand that is a that is a inner court activity. Everybody doesn't need to have a say on it. You need to have a close few. That is the place of sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So your impact time, the time that you spend with God asking questions about the impact that your company is going to have on the community, about the impact that your company is designed to have on the community, then making sure your branding matches that. Making sure your branding activities matches that. I could talk about branding and marketing and things like that all day. I literally could talk about that all day. But at the end of the day, you really would just want to, to keep this video short and sweet. You want to understand brand activity is an inner court activity, and you want to make sure it matches your company and the desire of your impact. So 3 words that describe your brand. Give me 3 words here. You want to write down 3 words that describe your brand and kind of just journal about it. What do you want your brand to be? How do you want your brand to be represented? And then capital activity. I heard a gentleman say, and I can't remember who it was that said it, but he said, I had a wonderful business and he had a wonderful opportunity to make money in his business. He said, but every day I wasn't doing money things. Every day he didn't do things to create money. This is an outer court activity. Notice this is a wide range. There's several inspirations that can come in several different ways that money can flow. Money is a currency. It's fluid. It's meant to flow. Unless you put up blocks to block the currency, money is truly a currency. It's meant to flow. So if you don't put up blocks to block the currency, money will flow. So you literally can allow the currency of money to flow the way that it's designed to flow. This is customer contact, interaction. There's so many capital activities creating a minimum standard of performance. So what is the MSP? MSP is basically where you figure out what your core expenses are. And I do a 30% on top of that. And you make sure entrepreneur, self-employed individual that has, and I hate those words, self-employed. I want to change that instead to chief heart officer. But a person that's working for yourself, make sure your salary is included in those expenses. Your living expenses need to be covered. And if you're working a full-time job and working your company on the side, okay, you don't have to include them in your expenses right then because you're not able to equate your time into the business. But at the end of the day, you really want to make sure you are covered in your expenses. You want to create capital activities. You need to be doing money things every single day. But just remember, that's outer court. Okay. Everything that's created in the natural was first created in the spiritual. This is not the most important activity of the 3. The most important activity of the 3 is impact. And whenever you get the impact down, or you start understanding your branding and building your brand message, and then you even go into creating a capital activity, you want to make sure that you are putting emphasis on what's most important, but still giving attention to what is important. Putting emphasis on what's most important, but still giving attention to what is important. And creating capital activities is absolutely super duper important. So what is your minimum standard of performance? Just really understanding what is your minimum standard of performance. So those are the 3 things, you guys. Those are the 3 core things that you need to do every single day. You need to be concerned about your impact. You need to make sure that you are looking at your branding, and you need to make sure that you are focused on capital activity as well. So again, my name is Kirsten Elise Dunn, KirstenSpeaks.com, businessforsocialchange.com. And I am super, super excited to be a kingdom entrepreneur. I'm super, super excited to be a serial kingdom entrepreneur. Oh, that's so good. So good. Well, you guys, make sure you focus on these 3 things every day, and shoot me a message. Let me know how things are going for you. How can I serve you? I would love to serve alongside you and with you. God bless you.